Sam Hawthorne never thought he'd come this close to death, but here he was, standing in the swirling desert dust, staring down at a blood-soaked stranger, forced to make a decision that would either save a life or damn his own soul. This choice was about to thrust him into the center of history's greatest revenge story. Sam Hawthorne never thought he'd come this close to death, but here he was, standing in the swirling desert dust, staring down at a blood-soaked stranger, forced to make a decision that would either save a life or damn his own soul. This choice was about to thrust him into the center of history's greatest revenge story. The sun was setting behind Sunset Mesa when Sam checked the fences around his ranch. There'd been way too much bandit activity in the area lately, and everyone needed to stay alert. With his Winchester rifle in hand scanning every movement, he noticed something stirring near the water well. At first, he figured it was a coyote, maybe a wounded deer that had wandered too close to his property. But as he got closer, what he saw would change his world forever. The man was about 30, dark-haired and powerfully built, but right now he sure didn't look powerful. Blood from his chest was mixing with the dirt, creating mud. His breathing was so weak that Sam couldn't tell if the guy was still alive. But what really shocked him were the details on the man's clothes. Black leather vest, expensive boots, and silver buckles on his belt. These weren't things any ordinary rancher could afford, and on the handles of his pistols, Sam leaned in for a closer look. Yeah, there they were, notches. Each notch meant a life taken. This man was a professional gunfighter, and probably a killer. 1,000 thoughts raced through Sam's mind. He could leave this man here to die. Nobody had seen him, nobody would know. Hell, maybe the world would be a safer place. Too many innocent folks in Arizona had lost their lives to men like this. But right then, the man groaned and cracked his eyes open. When those green eyes met Sam's, something happened. All he could see in those eyes was pain and desperation, the deep fear of a man facing death. Killer or not, this was a human being, and he was dying. Water, the man whispered, his voice hoarse and rattling. Please, water. That's when Sam remembered his wife Lucy's words. Sam, a man's true character is measured by the choices he makes when nobody's watching. Lucy had been dead 5 years, but she was still the voice of his conscience. Sam made his decision. God hadn't given him the right to judge. Whatever this man had done in the past didn't matter. Right now, a human being was dying and Sam could help. He grabbed the man under his arms and lifted him up, heavier than expected, all muscle and bone. This guy had lived his life fighting. As Sam started dragging him toward his cabin, he felt the man's blood soaking into his own clothes, but he didn't care. Inside the cabin, Sam laid the man on his single bed. He examined the chest wound more carefully. The bullet had gone through minor. That was good, but he'd lost a lot of blood. His skin was pale and his pulse was weak. Sam pulled out his whiskey bottle, clean rags, and thread. He'd have to use the basic medical knowledge Lucy had taught him. While cleaning the wound, Sam took a closer look at the man's clothes. In his jacket's inner pocket was a photograph, a beautiful woman and a little girl. The woman was in her 30s, brown-haired with a gentle face. The child was 6 or 7, with her father's green eyes. On the back was written Sarah and Emma, with all my love forever, Marcus. Marcus, the man's name was Marcus, and he carried a photo of his family. Sam held the whiskey bottle, lost in thought. This photograph changed everything. This man wasn't just some cold-blooded killer. He was a husband and father, someone who loved and was loved. Sam looked at his own wife Lucy's photograph. He'd carried it the same way. He understood the need to keep your most precious thing close. He knew the power of love, the importance of family bonds. After stitching up the wound, Sam used cold water to bring down Marcus's fever. The man occasionally mumbled, "Gotta protect Sarah and keep Emma safe. They're waiting for me." Sam started wondering, was this man really just a killer? Or was there a deeper side to this story? Maybe those notches on his pistol were from people he'd killed in self-defense. Maybe they were from things he'd been forced to do while trying to protect his family. In the Wild West, everyone carried guns. Everyone fought to survive. The line between good men and bad men was sometimes razor thin. Sam kept watch by Marcus's bedside all night, rifle across his knees, checking the windows. If this man was really wanted, there might be people coming after him. And if they knew Sam had helped him, he could become a target too. But the night passed quietly, just the sound of desert wind and distant coyote howls. Sam occasionally checked Marcus's pulse, feeling his forehead to see if the fever was breaking. At dawn, Marcus finally woke up completely. When he opened his eyes, the first thing he saw was Sam's curious face. He looked around for a while, trying to figure out where he was. Then he remembered his wound and moved his hand to his chest. "Why? Why did you save me?" Marcus asked, his voice still weak but clearer. "It was the right thing to do," Sam said simply. Marcus let out a bitter laugh. "Right? You don't even know me. I've done terrible things, spilled a lot of blood. Everyone does bad things in life. What matters is why you did them." Marcus stared at Sam. This cowboy was different. Most people who recognized him either looked at him with fear or tried to turn him in for the reward, but there was no fear in Sam's eyes, just curiosity, and maybe understanding. "My name's Marcus Blade," he finally said. "And yeah, I'm a gunfighter. I won't deny that, but—" He paused, struggling to breathe. "But I didn't choose this. I was forced into it." Sam kept listening, without judgment. "My wife Sarah and my daughter Emma, they were my whole world. We lived in Tahuano Town, had a peaceful life. I was a blacksmith. Sarah was a teacher. Emma was like the town's little mascot. Made everyone laugh, made everyone happy." Marcus's eyes filled with tears as he continued. "We had a little house, kept a garden. Sarah grew roses. Emma loved feeding the chickens. Simple but happy life. I'd go to the shop early in the morning, and when I came home in the evening I could smell Sarah's cooking. Emma would run and hug me." Sam pictured this scene in his mind. He'd lived that same kind of life with Lucy. But then, Marcus's face darkened. Then the Black Mesa gang came. Sam had heard that name. Black Mesa was the most ruthless bandit gang in the area. Their leader, Joaquin Morales, was known for his murders and cruelty. He recognized no rules, knew no limits. Morales came to our town and demanded taxes. Protection money, he called it. But we didn't need protection, not until he showed up. The townspeople held a meeting. We refused to pay. We didn't need Morales's money. Marcus stopped, struggling with the pain of having to remember these awful memories. That night, Marcus's voice broke. That night they raided the town. We were sleeping, Emma in her little bed, Sarah next to me. By the time they broke down the door, it was too late. Sarah started screaming. Emma started crying. Sam could read Marcus's agony on his face. Morales's men broke into our house, grabbed Sarah, caught Emma. Then he gave me a choice. Either work for him or never see my wife and daughter again. Or worse things could happen to them. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place. Marcus wasn't a killer. He was a slave. What choice did I have? Emma was only 6 years old. Sarah didn't deserve any of this. Morales said if I worked for him, he'd keep them alive. If I didn't work or tried to escape, he'd kill them both. I've been working for him for 3 years, Marcus continued, closing his eyes. Every job I do means Sarah and Emma live another day. Every time I pull the trigger, it's so they can keep breathing. But now, I can't take it anymore. What happened last night? Sam asked. Marcus opened his eyes and looked at Sam. Morales asked me to do something I couldn't do. He wanted me to kill a family, a rancher family in Newfield. The man's only crime was being late on his debt payments. His wife was sick, had 3 little kids. Marcus's voice started shaking. They had children, kids Emma's age. The little girl looked so much like Emma. Same hair color, same innocent eyes. When I looked at that little girl, I saw Emma. And you said no. Yeah. For the first time in 3 years, I told Morales no, said I wouldn't spill any more blood, wouldn't kill that family, wouldn't kill any family. And he shot you. Yeah, but first he told me something that stopped my heart cold, said Sarah and Emma were becoming a burden to him. He'd been feeding them too long, and my rebellion meant he'd have to get rid of them too. Sam's stomach turned. He's going to kill them? He won't just kill them. First he'll torture them. Give Sarah to his men, sell Emma to slave traders, then he'll kill them. Tears were streaming down Marcus's face. While I was trying to save that rancher family, I condemned my own. Now they'll all die, and I can't save them. Sam could see the man's desperation. This wasn't just a story. This was real and horrible. How did you manage to escape? Sam asked. After Morales shot me, he told his men to throw my body in the desert. But since I'd made him so much money, he wanted to kill me with a clean shot. He aimed for my heart, but I moved at the last second. The bullet grazed and went through. Marcus showed the wound on his chest. I played dead. His men tied me to the back of their horses and took me to the desert. After a few miles, when they stopped, I managed to escape, but I was weak from blood loss. I must have walked unconsciously until I reached your ranch. Where are they keeping them? Sam asked. Devil's Canyon, in the old silver mine. But getting there is impossible. At least 60 men, all armed, all ruthless, and now they know I betrayed them. Sam looked out the window. The sun had risen, and it was going to be hot. But when he saw something, his blood froze. In the distance, on the hills, silhouettes were moving. "Marcus," he said slowly, "how fast did you think they could track you down?" Marcus picked up on Sam's tone and looked toward the window. What he saw drained the color from his face. "Jesus, they're here." On the hills, slowly approaching mounted figures were visible, but these didn't look like ordinary bandits. These were different, more disciplined, moving in a more coordinated way, and their numbers. "Marcus, are those Morales' men?" Marcus looked more carefully, then shook his head. "No, these are worse. These are Apache warriors." Sam's heart stopped. "Apache? Why would Apaches be after you?" Marcus's face went even paler. "Because Morales' last big job was stealing treasure buried in Apache sacred lands, and I was part of that job. I was one of the leaders of the theft." Everything was getting even more complicated. Marcus wasn't just wanted by the Black Mesa gang but also by the Apaches, and now Sam was caught in the middle of this mess. "How many?" Sam asked, readying his rifle. Marcus counted carefully. "At least 50, no 70. God, they keep coming." It was true. From a distance it looked like just a few figures, but up close you could see there were many more. From behind the hills, from between the rocks, from the shadows of bushes, Apache warriors were emerging everywhere. Sam pulled out his telescope and looked at the hills. What he saw was terrifying. This wasn't just some random Apache group. This was an organized war party. Not just 70, but at least 150 Apache warriors, and more were coming. "Marcus, what exactly did you do to these Apaches?" Marcus was drenched in sweat. "Morales sent me and 10 men to Whispering Rocks. That's a sacred place where Apache ancestors are buried. No white man had set foot there for hundreds of years." "And what did you find there?" Morales was right. There was buried treasure there, but it wasn't just gold. The Apaches' most sacred artifacts were there. Ancestral totems, ancient weapons, ceremonial objects, spiritual items. Everything had very special meaning to Apache culture. Marcus paused, catching his breath. "And Morales took everything. Not just the gold pieces, everything. We even disturbed Apache graves. For them, this is the ultimate disrespect." Sam sighed. For Apaches, stealing from their sacred places was grounds for war, and now one of the men responsible was in his cabin. Outside, drum sounds began to echo, rhythmic, hypnotic drum sounds echoing from Echo Canyon. The Apaches were beating their war drums. This sound made Sam's blood run cold. This wasn't just a threat. This was a declaration of war. "How many Apaches are there now?" Marcus asked, afraid to look out the window. Sam looked through his telescope again. He was shocked. 200, maybe more, and they're still coming. Marcus tried to sit up in bed, groaning in pain. "Sam, you need to turn me over to them. This isn't your fight. You were just trying to help." "Too late," Sam said, checking his rifle. "I sheltered you in my home. To the Apaches, that makes me guilty too. In their eyes, I'm the thief's accomplice." A voice called out from outside. A powerful, authoritative voice shouting in Apache. The tone was full of anger and authority.
"What's he saying?" Sam asked.
Marcus listened, his face getting even paler. He's saying, "The man who stole the sacred items is in this house. Turn him over or you'll all die in agony. The spirits of our ancestors demand revenge." Sam looked out the window. Now his ranch was completely surrounded. Apache warriors in every direction. Escape was impossible. They were trapped like rats. But then something surprising happened. An old man emerged from among the Apaches. He was dressed differently from the others. Elaborate eagle feathers, intricate decorations, a powerful bearing. This wasn't just a warrior. Was this a chief? The man began walking toward Sam's cabin. He held his hands up, showing he was unarmed. But there was such power in his walk that Sam's hair stood on end. "Sam," Marcus said worriedly, "that's Nalnish, the most powerful Apache chief in this region. If he's here, this is serious. He only shows up for the most important matters." "What kind of matters?" "Declarations of war, vows of revenge, death sentences." Chief Nalnish stopped about 20 yards from the cabin. Sam could see how impressive the man was up close. He had a weathered face, but his eyes were sharp and intelligent. This was a leader, a warrior, and probably a very dangerous man. He began speaking in English, his accent heavy but understandable. "White man," he shouted, his voice like distant thunder. "I am Chief Nalnish, war chief of the Chiricahua Apache. The man inside has defiled my people's most sacred place, opened our ancestors' graves, stolen our sacred items. Turn him over to me, maybe you live." The threat was clear and direct, but something caught Sam's attention. The chief had said maybe. This wasn't an absolute death sentence. Sam approached the door but didn't open it. Chief Nalnish, that man is wounded, dying. Turning him over to you means killing him. He is already a dead man, the chief replied, his voice rising with anger. He and his friends opened our ancestors' graves, stole our sacred items, defiled our spirituality. This cannot be paid for even with death. Marcus tried to sit up in bed. Sam, go. Leave me and go. You're innocent in this. But Sam didn't move. He remembered his wife Lucy's words. Sam, a man's true character emerges in difficult times. Anyone can do the easy thing. The real test comes when doing the right thing requires sacrifice. Chief Nalnish, Sam called out, unexpected determination in his voice. This man is sorry, he's a victim too. He was forced to do this job to save his family. The chief seemed surprised by these words. He spoke with his warriors in Apache. The argument was harsh and long. Sam didn't know Apache but could tell from the tone and gestures that there were different opinions among the warriors. Finally, the chief turned back to Sam. How is he a victim? This was an opportunity. Sam opened the door slightly, lowering his rifle and showing his hands. Let me come out and explain. Sam, don't, Marcus shouted. They'll kill you. But Sam had already stepped out the door. He stood in the middle of his ranch, surrounded by 200 Apache warriors. His heart was pounding, but his voice was steady. He could see that every warrior around him had weapons ready, arrows drawn. Chief Nalnish, will you listen to the story of the man inside? The chief studied Sam for a long time. This white man was either very brave or very stupid, but there was sincerity in his voice. White man brave. Speak, but speak carefully. If you lie, your death will be very painful. Sam took a deep breath and told Marcus's story. The peaceful life in Tahuano town, Sarah and Emma's kidnapping, Morales's coercion, how the man had been enslaved. The Apaches listened silently, but Sam could see the suspicion on their faces. When the story ended, the chief spoke again with his warriors. This time the argument lasted longer. Some warriors looked angry, others calmer. One stepped forward and began arguing with the chief. Finally, a young warrior came forward, taller than Sam, with powerful muscles, decorated with war paint. He spoke in English, his voice harsh and angry. This story is a lie, he shouted. White men always lie. They defiled our sacred place, they must pay. No excuses accepted. Murmurs rose among the other warriors. Some supported the young warrior, reaching for their weapons. Chief Nalnish raised his hand. Everyone fell silent. His authority was absolute. Dakota is right. Many white men have lied to us. Many promises have been broken. But, he paused, looking at Sam, you also took a risk to protect your man. This also says something about you. Just then, Marcus came out of the cabin. He was still weak but could stand. In his hand was the photograph of his wife and daughter. In his other hand was an Apache-style necklace. Chief Nalnish, Marcus said, his voice trembling but determined. This is true. Here's my family. He held out the photograph to the chief. And this, he showed the necklace. This was given to me by one of your people. 3 years ago, Morales's men had captured an Apache girl. I saved her. She gave me this in thanks. This was an unexpected development. The chief took the necklace, examining it carefully. It was Apache craftsmanship, definitely, and it had very special meaning. The chief looked at the photograph, then at Marcus. Child, he said, his voice slightly softened. How old? 7 years old, Marcus said, his eyes filling with tears. Emma, she's everything to me. Along with Sarah, she's the meaning of my life. A change came over Chief Nalnish's face. The hardness was giving way to understanding. One of the Apache warriors approached the chief and said something in Apache. The chief nodded. I am also father, he said slowly. I also have daughter, Ayana, 10 years old. I know. The young warrior Dakota began protesting again, but the chief silenced him with a sharp look. But the chief said, his voice hardening again. Our sacred items are still missing. Our ancestors' graves are still defiled. They must be returned. Respect must be shown. Marcus nodded. With Morales. In Devil's Canyon. I can take you there, but first I have to save my family. Morales will kill them. Maybe he's torturing them right now. The chief fell into thought. This was a complicated situation. He wanted to get the sacred items back, but also had to protect the innocent. In Apache culture, protecting children was one of the most important values. How many men does Morales have, he asked. 60-70 men, Marcus said. Devil's Canyon is very well protected. Only one entrance guards on the hills. The mine is like a labyrinth. The chief looked at his warriors, then turned to Sam. White man, What do you say about this situation? Sam was surprised. The Apache chief was asking for his opinion. Chief Nalnish, I think this Morales stole both your sacred items and this man's family. He's the real enemy. Maybe we could work together. Dakota angrily objected. Apache never works with white man. Never. This shows weakness. But the chief raised his hand. Think, Dakota. Morales' gang is strong. If we attack, many Apaches will die. But if this man gives information from inside, we get our sacred items back and save innocent woman and child. Marcus stepped forward. Chief, I'll draw you a complete map of Devil's Canyon. Guard positions, secret passages, traps, everything I know. And if my family is saved, I'll serve you for life. This was a big promise. Life debt was very serious in Apache culture. The chief thought for a long time. 200 warriors were waiting around him, but the decision was his. Finally, he made a long speech in Apache. The warriors listened carefully. And you, he said, turning to Sam. Why do you want to get involved in this? This isn't your fight. Sam thought of his wife Lucy. He knew what she would say. Because it's the right thing to do. Morales is a bad man. He's hurting your people, this family, and other innocents. He needs to be stopped. And he paused. My wife always said that evil wins when good people do nothing. Chief Nalnish nodded. Your wife was wise woman. Good, we have agreement, but there are conditions. I'm listening. First, sacred items will be returned. None missing. Every piece, every totem, every spiritual object. Marcus nodded. Agreed. Second, Morales and his gang will be punished. They must die. All of them. Agreed. Third, you and White Man will fight like Apache brothers. You will not shoot us in the back. You will fight with honor. Sam and Marcus looked at each other, then nodded to the chief. And fourth, the chief said, his voice hardening. If this is a trap, if you deceive us, we will punish you so severely that you'll beg for death. Apache revenge does not forget, does not forgive. Agreed, Sam said. Marcus also nodded. The chief turned to his warriors and began giving orders in Apache. The warriors immediately moved, some preparing their horses, others checking their weapons. The organization was perfect. They worked like a professional army. When do we move? Marcus asked. Now, the chief said. We must move fast so Morales doesn't get suspicious. And he paused, looking at the sky. Storm is coming. Rain will be our advantage. Sam ran to his cabin and gathered the necessary supplies. Rifles, ammunition, some food and water. This would be a long and dangerous journey. He also took his wife Lucy's photograph. Maybe he was looking at it for the last time. Marcus was still wounded but could stand. The chief gave him a horse, and before they set off, one of the Apache warriors rebandaged his wound. The herbal mixture given by the medicine man had reduced the pain and started healing the wound. Ready? Sam asked. No, Marcus said honestly. But Sarah and Emma are waiting for me. That's enough. The Apache warriors moved silently, 200 mounted men advancing in coordination across the desert. Sam had never seen anything like this. These warriors worked like machines. They didn't talk at all, just used hand signals. On the road, Chief Nalnish came alongside Sam. White man, why did you do this? Why did you come with us instead of going back to your family? Sam thought, Chief, when my wife died, I became very lonely. Life had no meaning, but this is the right thing. Marcus loves his family very much. I can imagine Emma little innocent scared. Maybe my wife is looking proudly now. The chief nodded. You good man. Your wife was lucky. You also love your children very much. In Apache culture, children everything. They are future, they are hope. This is why I understand Marcus. But theft cannot be accepted. The journey took 5 hours. As they approached Devil's Canyon, the chief ordered a halt. They would scout ahead. Marcus drew a detailed map. The canyon entrance, guard towers, mine entrance, internal layout, escape routes, every detail. Where is my family? He asked. Deepest part of the mine. They turned the old foreman office into a prison. Thick walls, iron bars, hard to get out. Where are the sacred items? In Morales' personal quarters. In the main office. He displays them like a showcase. Shows them proudly. This angered the Apaches even more. The man who displayed sacred items like trophies. The chief explained the plan. They would attack from 3 groups. The first would create a distraction from the canyon's main entrance. The second would come down the west side to neutralize the guards, and the third would infiltrate the mine from the east. You and Marcus will come with me, the chief told Sam. We're tasked with rescuing the sacred items and family. Dakota objected. We shouldn't trust them. This is dangerous. We'll take the risk, the chief said. But bigger risk is letting Morales escape. When the sun began to set, the attack started. The first group entered the canyon making a big noise, war cries and gunshots. Morales's men panicked and rushed to the main entrance. This was enough opportunity for Sam, Marcus, and 10 Apache warriors. They quietly descended the west side and reached the mine, every step carefully planned, every movement coordinated. But when they entered, Morales was waiting for them. "Hello, Marcus," Morales said with an evil smile. "I was expecting you." The bandit was holding a child, Emma. The girl's eyes were wide with fear, but her mouth was gagged. Her little hands were tied. "Daddy," Emma screamed, trying to break free from Morales's grip. "Emma." Marcus stepped forward, but Morales pressed his pistol to the child's head. "Stop right there, old friend," Morales said, his thick Spanish accent. "One more step and the pequeña dies." Sam aimed his rifle at Morales but couldn't get a clean shot from the angle. Emma was too close. "Morales," Marcus said, his voice trembling. "Why did you do this? I worked for you like a loyal dog for 3 years. "Loyal?" Morales laughed. "Last night you said no to me. You rejected me. Loyal dogs never reject their masters. I couldn't kill that family. They had children. Kids Emma's age. And you showed weakness. Mi amigo, the price of weakness is death." Just then Sarah, Marcus's wife, was brought out from the corner. Her mouth was also gagged and hands tied, but her eyes lit up with hope when she saw Marcus. She was injured, scratches on her face. "Now you'll make a choice, Marcus," Morales said. "Either you die and they live, or they die and you continue with me. Simple." Marcus's face had gone pale. This was an impossible choice. But just then Sam noticed something. One of the Apache warriors, Dakota, was silently approaching Morales from behind. Other warriors were also taking positions. "Morales," Sam said to distract the man, "what are you going to do with those sacred items you stole?" "Sacred items?" Morales laughed. "Don't you know their real value? Those gold totems and ancient weapons will make a fortune with museum collectors back east. You have no respect. Respeto is for poor people. I want to be rich, and that Apache junk will make me very rich." Dakota had gotten close enough, but Marcus had also noticed and was ready. "Morales," Marcus said, "can I say one last thing?" "K. Rot in hell." Everything happened at once. Marcus threw himself to the side. Dakota attacked Morales. Sam fired his rifle and Emma bit Morales's hand with her little teeth. The struggle was very quick. Morales dropped Emma and tried to draw his pistol, but Dakota was too fast. The Apache warrior plunged his knife into Morales's chest. "No," Morales screamed, falling to the ground covered in blood. While Sam fought the other bandits, Marcus ran to his family. He hugged Emma and Sarah, tears streaming down his face. "I'm sorry," Marcus kept repeating. "I'm so sorry I couldn't protect you." "You're here now," Sarah said, her voice hoarse. "That's enough." Emma wrapped her little arms around her father's neck. "Daddy, I was scared, but I knew you'd come." The battle continued, but now the Apache warriors had a clear advantage. Morales's men were in panic and their leader was dead. Resistance was diminishing. Chief Nalnish went deep into the mine. He was looking for the sacred items. Finally, he found them: totems, ancient weapons, ceremonial objects, spiritual artifacts displayed in a display case, all together. "Here they are," the chief said, examining the items. "All here, none damaged, but," he paused angrily, "this is disrespectful." The one who displayed them like a show. While Sam controlled the wounded bandits, Marcus continued holding his family. After 3 years, they were finally together. "Dad," Emma said, touching Marcus's face with her little hands. "Is it really you? Not a dream?" "Yes, sweetheart," Marcus said, unable to stop his tears. "It's really me, and we'll never be apart again." Sarah saw the wounds on her husband's face. "Marcus, what did they do to you?" "Doesn't matter anymore. The only thing that matters is that you're safe." Dakota came up to Sam. "White man, you fought brave, fought like Apache warrior." "Thank you, Dakota. You saved my life too." "We fought as team. This good." Chief Nalnish approached Sam with the sacred items in his hands. "White man, you did what you promised. Sacred items returned. Family saved. Evil men punished. We all did it together, Chief." "Yes, and this changed everything. You are Apache brother now, forever, always welcome in our lands." Marcus stood up, keeping his family by his side. "Chief Nalnish, how can I thank you? Words aren't enough." "No need for thanks. You also fought with honor, kept your promise. Go with your family, live peacefully. But remember, if bad men come again, Apaches will protect you." This was a lifetime guarantee. Apache protection was very valuable. Sam, Marcus and his family, and the Apache warriors came out of the mine. Outside, the sun was setting, and the desert was painted in beautiful colors. "Sam," Marcus said, his voice full of emotion, "how can I repay what you did for me?" "No need to repay. You would have done the same for me. But you didn't even know me. Why did you risk your life?" Sam thought, "Because Marcus, sometimes what a person has to do is take risks, otherwise nothing changes," and he paused. "My wife always said that courage is contagious. When one person is brave, others become brave too." Emma came up to Sam. "Uncle Sam, are you a hero?" Sam laughed. "No, Emma, I'm just a man trying to do the right thing. But heroes do the right thing too." "Then maybe I'm a little bit of a hero." Chief Nalnish spoke one last time. "This story will be told for generations. White man and Apache fought together against evil. Maybe the future will be different. Maybe there will be more understanding." The Apache warriors mounted their horses and rode away across the desert. The sun had completely set, stars were beginning to appear. Sam, Marcus, and his family slowly walked toward Sam's ranch. "Marcus," Sam said, "what will you do with your family now?" "I don't know. Tahuano town doesn't exist anymore. We lost everything." "Then stay here. The ranch is big. There's plenty of room. Emma needs to grow up in a safe place." Sarah looked at Marcus. "Can we accept?" Marcus thought, "Are you sure, Sam? We're strangers." "Not anymore. Now we're family." Emma jumped with joy. "Yay! We're staying with Uncle Sam." That night, in Sam's cabin, they all ate dinner together. For the first time in a long time, Sam wasn't lonely. "Sam," Sarah said, "I'm sorry about your wife. Marcus told me." "Thank you, Sarah. She was a good woman. Like you. You loved her very much." "Yes, but now I understand that love isn't just with one person. Love can also be helping other people." Marcus touched Sam's shoulder. "Brother, I owe you my life." "No, Marcus. You gave me purpose. For a long time, my life had no meaning. Tonight, it has meaning again." Emma climbed onto Sam's lap. "Uncle Sam, will you tell me a story?" "Which story?" "The story of what we lived through today. The story of how we saved Daddy." Sam laughed. "That's a long story, Emma." "I love long stories." And Sam began to tell it. The story of being face to face with death. The siege by 200 Apache warriors. The family's rescue. But this time, the story ended happily. If you enjoyed this epic tale, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Weeks later, Sam's ranch looked completely different. Marcus had built a barn, Sarah had made a small garden, and Emma was running and playing all over the property. One day, Chief Nalnish visited. He brought gifts, miners Apache blankets, handmade jewelry, and something special. "Sam," the chief said, "this is for you." In his hand was a beautifully crafted tomahawk. The handle had Apache symbols on it. "What does this mean?" "It says Apache brother, brave heart, friend forever." Sam took a deep breath. "Chief, this is very valuable." "You are also very valuable. This tomahawk comes from my ancestors, now it's yours." Emma came running. "Chief Nalnish, will you teach me horsemanship?" The chief laughed. "Of course, little warrior, but first we must choose a horse." Marcus and Sarah also approached. They were like a real family now. "Chief," Marcus said, "there aren't any problems with the Apaches, are there? Some warriors might be disturbed by us." "In the beginning it was like that. But Dakota tells everyone your story. Now everyone knows white men can also be good." "That's good." "Yes, and maybe in the future there will be more cooperation." At the evening meal they all sat together. Sam, Marcus, Sarah, Emma, and Chief Nalnish. "Uncle Sam," Emma said, "do you think we'll have more adventures?" "Hopefully not, Emma. I want a peaceful life now. But I love adventures." "Then I'll tell you about adventures in books." The chief spoke. "But Emma, real life is sometimes the biggest adventure. As you grow up here, you'll learn many things." "Like what?" "How to be brave. How to do the right thing. How to protect your family." Emma thought, "Like Uncle Sam?" "Yes, like Uncle Sam." After dinner, everyone approached the windows. Outside was a beautiful sunset. The desert was shining golden. "This is beautiful," Sarah said. "Yes," Sam said. "But the most beautiful thing is having people to share it with." Marcus looked at Sam. "My brother, you rescued me from death. But more importantly, you gave me a new life." "We all rescued each other." "Marcus." Emma climbed to the window. "Look, Apache warriors." Indeed, in the distance, on the hills, several Apache riders were standing, but this time not for threat but for protection. "They're protecting us," Chief Nalnish said. Now this ranch is a sacred place, because here enemies became friends. What does this mean? Emma asked. It means, Sam said, that sometimes the best stories are born from the most unexpected friendships. As night advanced, Chief Nalnish departed, but first he said a final word. Sam, this story isn't finished. This is just the beginning. You're an Apache brother now. This is a big responsibility. What kind of responsibility? Maybe in the future other people will need help and you'll do the right thing again. Sam nodded. I'll be ready. The chief mounted his horse and disappeared into the darkness. Sam, Marcus, Sarah, and Emma stood at the door watching him. Uncle Sam, Emma said. What do you think the chief meant? I don't know, Emma, but whatever happens, we'll face it together. Promise. Promise. That night, as Sam lay in bed, he had now made himself a separate room since Marcus's family used the main room. He thought of his wife Lucy. Lucy, he whispered, I hope what I did was right. This family, they became my family. You would have loved them too. The wind gently moved the window, as if Lucy was answering. When morning came, Emma woke Sam up. Uncle Sam, there's someone outside. Sam immediately woke up and rushed to the window. Outside stood a young woman. She looked tired and scared. Marcus had also awakened. Who is she? I don't know, but she looks like she needs help. Sam went outside. When the woman saw him, she looked relieved. Sir, the woman said with a Spanish accent, please help me. Bad men are chasing me. Sam looked into the woman's eyes. He saw the same desperation there that he had once seen in Marcus's eyes. Marcus came up beside him. What's she saying? Bad men are chasing her. She's asking for help. Marcus looked at Sam. What are you going to do? Sam smiled.
What I have to do. The right thing.
And the story began again. Because sometimes doing the right thing isn't something you do once. It's a way of life. This time, Sam wasn't alone either. Marcus was with him, Apache friends were with him, and most importantly, he had his family's support. Emma, Sam said to the little girl, do you think we should help this woman? Emma didn't hesitate. Of course, Uncle Sam. You told me heroes always do the right thing. You're right, Emma. Then let's get started. And as the sun rose from behind the hills, a new adventure was beginning. But this time Sam knew that whatever happened, he wasn't alone. Because the greatest heroism isn't fighting alone, but being together with the right people. If you enjoyed this epic Western tale, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and tell me in the comments, would you have helped the stranger like Sam did? What do you think will happen next? The woman approached closer. My name is Maria, she said with a shaking voice. They took my son, my little boy. Sam and Marcus looked at each other. Another family in danger, another child needing rescue. How old? Marcus asked. 5 years old. His name is Miguel. Emma was hiding behind Sam, but curious. Why do bad men take children? Same reason they took Emma, Marcus said grimly. For control, for power. Chief Nalnish's words echoed in Sam's mind. Maybe in the future other people will need help. The future had arrived. Maria, Sam said, come inside. Tell us everything. And don't worry, together we'll find your son. Because some promises aren't just words, they're actions. And Sam Hawthorne, Marcus Blade, and their Apache brothers would never stop fighting against evil. The story continued, and every new chapter was full of hope and courage. But as they prepared for another rescue mission, Sam couldn't shake the feeling that this was bigger than just one kidnapped child. Maria's story would lead them to an even darker conspiracy, one that threatened not just individual families, but entire communities across the frontier. Tell me everything, Sam said as they sat around his table. Who took Miguel? When? Where were you when it happened? Maria's hands shook as she accepted the cup of coffee Sarah offered her. It was the Crimson Brotherhood. They came to our village 3 days ago. Said they were recruiting workers for the silver mines, but her voice broke. But when parents refused to let their children go, they just took them anyway. Marcus's face darkened. How many children? 15, all between 5 and 12 years old. They loaded them into wagons like cattle. Sam felt that familiar fire building in his chest. The same feeling he'd had when he learned about Sarah and Emma's captivity. This isn't just kidnapping. This is slave trading. The Crimson Brotherhood, Marcus said slowly. I've heard of them. They're worse than Morales ever was. They specialize in human trafficking. Children, women, anyone they can sell. Emma tugged at Sam's sleeve. Uncle Sam, we have to save those children, right? Sam looked down at her innocent face, then at Marcus and Sarah. He could see in their eyes that they were thinking the same thing he was. This was their test. This was why Chief Nalnish had said the story wasn't over. We'll need help, Sam said. More help than we can provide alone. Marcus nodded. The Apache. If we explain the situation to Chief Nalnish. But will they help us again? Sarah asked. This isn't about their sacred items this time. No, Sam said, standing up and looking out toward the hills where he knew Apache scouts were watching. But it's about something even more sacred. Children. And if there's one thing I learned about the Apache, it's that they value children above everything else. As if summoned by their conversation, the sound of approaching horses reached their ears. Sam looked out to see a single rider approaching, minus it was Dakota. The young Apache warrior dismounted and approached the cabin. Sam, my friend, he called out. Chief Nalnish sends word. We heard about the woman who came to you. About the stolen children. Sam stepped outside. How could you have heard so fast? Dakota smiled grimly. Apache ears are everywhere in this desert. We know about the Crimson Brotherhood. They have taken Apache children too. 6 of our young ones, stolen from a hunting party 2 weeks ago. The pieces were falling into place. This wasn't just about Maria's son. This was about a criminal organization that was terrorizing the entire region. Where are they taking them? Sam asked. North, to Red Rock Canyon. There's an old fortress there, built by Spanish conquistadors 200 years ago. Perfect for holding prisoners, perfect for slave auctions. Maria gasped. Auctions? Dakota's expression was stone cold. Tomorrow night, they're selling all the children to buyers from back east. Rich men who want servants they can control completely. The urgency hit Sam like a physical blow. They had less than 24 hours. Chief Nalnish wants to meet, Dakota continued. All of us, tonight, we plan war against these child stealers. Sam looked back at his cabin, at the family he'd helped create, at the peace they'd found. Then he looked at Maria's desperate face and Emma's trusting eyes. Tell the chief we'll be there, Sam said. All of us. As Dakota rode away, Marcus put his hand on Sam's shoulder. You know this is going to be the most dangerous thing we've ever done. The Crimson Brotherhood has twice as many men as Morales did, and they're better armed. I know, Sam said. But what choice do we have? Today it's Maria's son and Apache children. Tomorrow it could be Emma. Where does it end if we don't stop it here? Sarah approached them, carrying a rifle. If you think you're leaving me behind, you're wrong. I know how to shoot, and I know what it's like to be separated from my child. Those mothers in Maria's village, they need to see their children again. Emma tugged at Sam's shirt again. I want to help too. No, sweetheart, Sam said gently. This is too dangerous. You'll stay here with... He paused, realizing they didn't have anyone to leave her with. She'll come with us. Chief Nalnish's voice came from behind them. The chief had approached silently, along with several warriors, but she'll stay at our camp, protected by our women warriors. Sometimes the young ones need to see that evil can be defeated. Sam turned to face the chief. Chief Nalnish, Dakota said you have a plan. I have anger, the chief replied, and anger plus planning equals justice. Come, we have much to discuss and little time. As they prepared to leave the ranch, Sam took one last look at the peaceful life they'd built. In 24 hours, either they'd return as heroes who had saved dozens of children, or they wouldn't return at all. But as he mounted his horse and rode toward what might be his final battle, Sam Hawthorne knew one thing for certain. Some fights were worth dying for, and protecting innocent children was definitely one of them. The real war was just beginning.